How is everybody doing? Oh. I love that.
A lot of people are wondering why you didn't start off CGC with that. Like, you just play it in the background, like for the first 1 minute or so.
Are the degens still degenning, or is there nothing left to degen?
I'm hauling sand and thinking about the good old days.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? It's a bit topsy turvy. I still get asked, I think, every single day. I still get asked about market trends and what we think is going to happen. I think the more people that ask you, the less sure people are as well. So it's definitely a sign.
The last Friday, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think it was last Friday. Somebody said, "Hey, let's do a wheel," and I think somebody ponied up a booster, and I gave away RFOX and VFOX. So that was a fun day.
Actually, we should do something, because we're not long away from the new rounds coming through, and there's I think it's probably getting. I had a look the other day. It was $147 or something for a starter pack now, right? For second edition.
Yeah, that's on wax, but it's a lot cheaper if you do the 2 ECT route. I think if you buy 2 ECT, it's about $80.
Oh, really?
So if you buy, I think if you divide it after getting the 2 ECT, I think it's about 80.
Wow.
80 or 85. So.
All right, you give me something to do later. That sounds good. The Ramses is saying there's fewer tokens to degen into. I'll tell you what. That's the other question I got during the week a lot is, people are often, people say, what's happening? What are you doing to increase liquidity and all the rest of it? Have you seen the actual tokens that had all launched prior to this downtrend on the BSC side? So your stuff like ORC and some of these aggregated tokens that do like aggregated yield farming and all the rest of it, they have literally gone to like $30 and $40 worth of volume a day. Some of them. ORCs, I think, down to 130,000. This was like the jewel in the crown. It's quite scary. I love that.
VFOX still going strong. VFOX still going strong.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about the potential revenue that will go through the virtual space there. Well, I think once we start talking a little bit more about that, I think people are going to get a sign and a taste for the numbers. So, yes. But I am going to do a video this week in the next few days just to sort of talk to you guys about the current, like a lot of people talk about timelines and delivery and stuff like that. And if just on that, if you get a minute ever, some of you would have seen it. Charles Hoskinson did a video about a week ago, a stream, it's something to do. It's called Lex. Something to do about he's going on the Lex podcast, and he tried to answer a question, preempt what Lex would ask him in retaliation to Vitalik's comments. It's a very cool video. One question, if you please. In which month, by your opinion, will the first million of non-crypto people say, "Wow, have you seen what RedFOX Labs have created?" It's a good question, George. I tell you that, people have said, you guys are quiet, you must be up to something. We're busy building stuff. And I think the fact that we're trying to pull so many things together at once, and the things that we are trying to pull together, we've had several people recently mention that they've gone into rooms or phone conversations or groups of people, and we're at that point now where at least one person in each group's heard of what we're doing and what we're up to. So it's starting to sort of slowly, definitely seep out there, but I think it's going to be a while. Obviously, there's the good opportunity that I see at the moment. Like a lot of people would be saying the market's terrible, and a lot of these tokens, the new ones, are in big trouble before they even started. But the thing that I think is that while the market's like this, we've actually got a massive advantage because we've actually got products in development and we've got things that are out on the market and coming out onto the market. So we've got a really, really strong opportunity to put our heads down, our bums up, and get a few more things released and out. And I think that bodes very, very well for any future trends. Keep gas on ETH has shook things up a bit too. Absolutely. Yeah, Lex Friedman, degen. The video was by Charles Hoskinson about a week. I'm sure someone will link it after what I've said. It's about a week ago. It was a live stream. I think it's got 159,000 views. It goes for about 15 minutes. But it just touches on some really important points on, because he's copped a lot for Cardano, missing lots of deliveries and rollouts. And he talks about the fact that the types of things that are being built by the projects that are actually doing something serious. If you're building a platform or an ecosystem like ours, or something that's actually very big, like he said, the thing is you get one chance to roll these things out, and if you don't do them well, you're stuck with a terrible, horrible system forever. So I think there's a bit of a debate going on between Ethereum and Cardano. That's it. I think it's definitely worth 15 minutes of your time. Watch it on 1.5 speed. It's definitely very good. You mentioned in the middle of June, sales volume would have improved. Yeah, so we're working on that right now. Very, very close to working on lots of different strategies for that and lots of different things coming together. I don't want to spoil the video that I'm going to do, but I just want to talk about the fact that that I want to go over the model a little bit more. For those who watched the CGC speech, you would have seen me talking about how the model all clicks together. Some people hadn't seen that before. Some people didn't know how it works. Some people have talked about, we've heard about the cashback app and streaming for a long time. We've heard about media for a long time. We've heard about a lot of stuff for a long time. When are we going to see it? And as I said to you, a couple of months ago, we went through that. We went through a phase where we basically said, for this to work and click together the way we want it to click together, things have to come together fairly close as far as release times are concerned. We can't have a ton of third-party applications that we're connecting to because it will mean that we're forever stuck on other people's platforms, and we can't do that. So the original plan was to build linearly, one project after another, and take forever to get to this ecosystem build-out. And we've decided to just sort of put the pedal down to the metal and try and get as many things out as we can so that this ecosystem's up and running and fully working. So the reason we've been a little bit quieter on timelines and stuff is because I don't want to keep coming out and saying this is going to be the exact date that we go and then find out that we can't hit that because of things that are obviously quite big and the pieces are massive. So I'll give you an example. If you're going to start onboarding a ton of people, I'll throw this question out to you guys. And if I owe it, if I owe a pack, Pete, I think I owed a pack to someone from last time, did I?
You did owe a pack to Madame. I got it settled. Madame, can you confirm that you got a pack?
Yeah, let me know. Sorry,
I'll pay it up.
Okay, cool. So maybe I should do that again. I'll find a question tonight that I can give another pack to, but I'll ask some questions and let's see, because we've got a lot of people that know a lot about business, and we've got a lot of people in our follower base that work for a lot of different types of industries and businesses. So let me ask you the question: if you're bringing in a ton of people, so for COGS, we've got the game, obviously, we've got a metaverse launching soon, we've got streaming, cashback, media platform. If you've got all of those people coming into or looking at your systems and looking at your tools and all the rest of it and your products, what do you think is extremely important? Let's see some gifts. We'll do a gift competition, hey? Customer care, yeah, that's important. Yep. Onboarding. Yep. All right. I'll give you a further clue. User journey, yep. Good. A lot of this stuff's good. Yep. Oh, that's you, Wade. Ease of play to earn, yep. Proper functionality. Yes, it's pretty important, Hanford. to actually have the products built first so there's something to do, see, experience. Yeah, that's true. Actually, the guys from Media, which you'll meet soon. And that's the other thing. People say, what's happening with all of that stuff? You don't just acquire a media company to sit on it for the next 10 years, but you want to make sure that when you get stuff rolled out, you do it properly. But they always say no one wants to stare at a piece of white paper with nothing on it. That's 100% true. But it actually works. Retention, linking all systems together, coordinating the merge. Yep. When I tell you, you're going to say, oh, yeah, of course. Essential. And you get some sharp people in here. User-friendly. Yep. Yep. Leadership. Absolutely. But here's the really important part. And this is not a blight at any platforms in any way, shape, or form. But, for example, actually, all of those people are coming in. It's very important that they're your customers. That might sound like a really stupid thing to say, but if you think about it, if a person comes in and has a Wax account, for example, like we know who you guys are because we talk to you guys and you mention who you are and all the rest of it. But how do we send you stuff, market stuff to you, talk to you about stuff? Really, really, really disjointed type of experiences that people are getting because people are joining up to third-party platforms and other people's platforms, and you don't actually belong to that ecosystem properly. And what we're trying to do is make it so that you've got, and we've talked about this before, one login, and that means that you only have to have one login for all of the RFOX ventures, for the metaverse, for any of the products or services we do now and in the future, one login. So to do stuff like that, and then we've got RFOX on BSC, RFOX on Ethereum. So what we also want to do is make it that everybody can use RFOX, and if everybody's using RFOX, you've got to say which RFOX are you using, Ethereum, BSC, and what we want to do is try and work towards mass adoption. And we don't want to work towards a situation where people are saying, I'm so confused. We did a video on the CGC video. Someone wrote, you're trying to make products that your kid can use and that your parents can use. How do they go getting RFOX across a bridge and then putting it into the farm? Could your kids and parents do that? Very good question. We're nowhere near the point we need to be. And if we start working with some of these big brands, they're not going to tolerate us being fragmented across 40 different platforms. It doesn't make any sense to them from that perspective as well. We've got to get our act together and make sure that we've got a simple unified login. We've got simple payment structures, so you don't have to think about it and you don't need a PhD to be able to interact. So we have got some good news coming up on the payment side of things and utility side of things very, very shortly. But again, I don't want to spoil people's thunder. Giving businesses the opportunity to collaborate with RedFOX Labs by being part of the metaverse through the vault is mind-blowing and will provide users with more convenient and unique experience. So Crypto Matrix, imagine if you said, hey, and we'll use Reebok because you know that we brought Reebok to market, but let's just use Reebok as the example. Hey, Reebok, we've got a really cool thing. What is it? Metaverse. Really? Yep. It's awesome. You can actually have a shop there and you can sell stuff to your clients and all the rest of it. Really? Yep. And that's an RFOX metaverse. Yep. What do we have to do to use it? Go and get a Wax wallet. That's embarrassing. Now, you might still need to have a Wax wallet. You might still need to use Wax wallets. You might still need to use Ethereum wallets. But the fact is, all of that should be in the background. And when we go to put all of that stuff together, we'll be very honest, hand on heart. We're not shying away from any of this. It's not as easy as you think to get all that stuff together. And there's not very many people that actually offer a federated login system with multiple wallet connections and payment options. There's not very many people that do any of this stuff. Yeah, I hate confusion as well, Hero Gamer. And actually, do you know what? The part that really, really frustrates us the most, we actually know what we have to do to get it to being an easy user experience. That's probably a curse. And you might say, well, that's good. At least you know what to do. The fact that you know what you have to do to get it to that point, and the tools or the roads or the expertise doesn't exist, that's the part that is frustrating for us, because if we're providing anything that's substandard,
that
anything
is
that's
very frustrating to me.
yeah,
That is 100% true. I mean, it's like, you want to get there, but there's nothing. It's just like, a big jungle, right? You got to bushwhack through the whole freaking jungle, and that's yeah. Granite, I love your confidence, but it's a huge jungle.
I sometimes look at what we're actually building, and then or what we have to use to get to using the product, and I think to myself, hang on, I need to sit down and try and wrap my head around how to actually get to our own product. How do we get here? How does that happen? How can it be so complicated? How after all these years of building and progress, is it so damn difficult? And one of the main reasons is that people have built these little ring fence backyards, and it makes it super difficult for you to, like, for example, when we were looking at bridges and bridge solutions, people have said, why didn't you build your own bridge? Well, if it's that easy, there'd be a billion bridges out there, wouldn't there? But if you look at using a bridge, have a look at the majority of them, and Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, but the majority of them will say you have to lock up 1 billion of our tokens, for example. So you've got to buy the people that built the bridge's tokens, and they're not available anywhere. You can't sell them or use them. And it's just a very terrible user experience. And then all of the people that would have to sort of go across the bridges, buy the products. As it is at the moment, you need BNB.
I think I think, Benny, when we were looking for the bridges, I think that was 6 of the bridges that we looked at.
It was ridiculous.
Us to buy their token. It's like, what the hell? Why do I need your tokens? But yeah,
reduce your steps, Hero Gamer. Hero Gamer, reduce your steps. That's what we're trying to do. And the thing is, we could probably rush a lot of what we're building to market much quicker. And to be honest, if I want to be hand on heart honest, graphically and user interface, that's not as hard as people make it out to be. The thing is that your back end connections and your the pathway that you have to go through is just shocking. And the thing is, we're all, as a group and as a team, we're sick and tired of being in a situation where we've got people, rightfully so, asking from our community, why do you have to accept another person's currency to buy your products? Or why can't we engage using your token? Now, I know for a fact, and I've mentioned this many times before, we've got a lot of investors that actually are hodlers and they believe in the long term. And even if you did provide them products to use their RFOX on, they're not going to do that. But the point is not lost, and it makes perfect sense. And that's what we're moving towards. So when we've been a little bit quiet with dates lately, it's because what we don't want to do is go out to the market with something that's a Frankenstein that you have to pull apart and redo, or is just so complicated that it doesn't make any sense. When in actual fact, all the pieces are there in some form. You've just got to pull them together and then create the user interface to make it far less steps. And Hero Gamer, to your point, reduce your steps. Remember when, if you haven't read about it, you should. Bezos went in and basically said to his team many, many moons ago, I want people to be able to buy in 1 click. And people said, it's impossible. You can't. You need, I think they started off at 8 or 9 clicks. And then he just kept saying, has to be 1 click, has to be 1 click. And they said, this is impossible. So he got better engineers and more creative people and smarter minds in the room. And eventually they got it. They did it. It took them a long, long, long time, but they got there. And that's exactly what you've got to be doing if you want an edge, because Rams has said before, it's a lot of projects building, and that's true. And the thing is that if you put something out now for the sake of putting something out that's very difficult to use, in 6 months or a year from now, when people start bringing out easy to use products, you're dead, very dead. Yeah, well, at the moment, Hero Gamer, you still need a PhD to be able to use most products in crypto, and it is far, far, far too complicated. It's King of Cogs back with the gifts. I love how I just log in with a QR code with Binance app on my desktop. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly. But we need to make it, Hero Gamer, that you've used your QR code or your Facebook or your Google account or whatever it is. And once you've done that, you go in, you set up your profile, you personalize your details and your page and your avatars, as it might be in the metaverse, and that's it. You've done your work, you've done your setup, and then anything that we bring out, you're in. It's just so much better, so much easier. Classic startup struggle. It's how you're in a bit of a blue ocean still. Yeah, Ramses, that's the frustrating thing is that when you look at the crypto space, you feel like you're kind of gone back to the 1970s and you think, I know what happens next year. This is cool. We can capitalize on the movements and the trends and the waves. But the thing is, as we just said, Pete said, it's like walking through a forest and you need a thick machete to sort of clear your way. And the thing is that once you start doing that and you start thinking, we know what happens next, you start realizing, why do we have to repeat the same way? Why can't we make it better? Why can't we use this technology to do something different? So that's the cool part about it. A mobile app with finger face login. Yeah, we've talked about this. We actually we talked about this with one of the providers that we're about to do a deal with, because people continually lose their devices, right? And we were saying, why can't you have it as facial recognition? Because you can't lose your face. Well, it's a lot less likely anyway, but you can lose your device. And they said it's possible. It's just going to take some work. Gary V NFT's ability to identify each holder to wallet and who they are in the chat, reclaiming their roles on Discord. How's that actually working out? Does it actually work the way it's supposed to? Slammer finger identifier. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Crypto Matrix, I love the fact that it levels the playing field for a lot of businesses out there. They don't have to necessarily be a multi-million or billion-dollar organization. Anyone can be part of the metaverse. Yeah, actually, that's something that was really important to us. We talk about digital inclusion and unlocking value in the digital economy. And the thing is, as we've stated, if you have to pay $300,000 or $500,000 for a shop, that doesn't really unlock value for some of the smaller players, does it? So we've been very actively trying to work on the food courts and the smaller hawker style offerings as well, especially at the local level, where it's going to be really important in these Southeast Asian countries that someone in Indonesia doesn't have to pay $300,000 to get a virtual restaurant. It doesn't make any sense. So we've got some pretty cool ideas for how that can actually roll out at a local level so it's affordable for everyone. Yeah. For the triple zeros or thousands of new users, gamers in SEA, main driver will be amount of dollars to earn. Yeah, actually, CCRY Credence, there's a video going around at the moment that an Australian documentary made for Axie and Play to Earn in the Philippines, and 100%. The gaming company platform we've been talking to for a long time, which I keep hinting that we'll do something with, they've finally come around also to crypto. When I say crypto, to NFTs, and they've seen what they said wouldn't happen, which is the play to earn type of community and models explode in Southeast Asia. And I think every man and his dog sitting up and realizing that a lot of these people can create, play, design, earn from home. And some of these people are carving out businesses for themselves, and they're making a living out of playing games. So every single gaming company in the region's attention is now firmly focused on what these types of games are doing. And I think the fact that we've gone down the route of putting out a game that is very visually appealing to a much wider audience, and then still having the same play to earn, play for keeps, tournaments style capabilities as part of the game. I think it's going to be a case of right place, right time, right type of model as well. Have a look at that big boy. Who's going to buy a big boy?
I'll do that. A bunch of them.
That's a nifty looking case, isn't it? When is the land sale due? So Hero Gamer, we've been very quiet on the actual land sale release dates for due reason. We've made sure that we've got the layouts, formats, and assets the way that we want them to be, that we're happy with. So we're getting closer to locking in that timeline definitively. We didn't want it to change again, so we wanted to make sure that we have that locked in. And for that to happen, as we've always stated, we need to make sure that we're doing the announcements of partners for the virtual space for the traction. That's very important. But again, this is why we've been working double time to try and make sure that we've got some sort of federated login system, that we've got the payment channels improved. And again, I don't want to ruin that surprise just yet, but the fact is that unless we're making payment options easier and making it easier for, as you said here, a game of lazy people to get in, then we don't really attract the attention that those guys actually would want. If we've got a really long-winded, horrible process, multiple platforms, multiple 10 steps to get into the metaverse and start interacting, then it's not really, doesn't really inspire confidence in our partners, does it? So that's why we're trying to make sure that we get this right first. Vault Tinder. Actually, there's so many of those, right? I think Second Life turned into some dating type of thing, and IMVU and all of these virtual dating things. I don't really get it, to be honest. I don't have to get it, though, as long as it makes sense. Bosun pays a remarkable $704,000 for a Decentraland plot to build a virtual mall. There you go. Do you welcome the competition? Yeah, Face, of course. The fact is we back ourselves in 100% that we can do it better. And the thing is that virtual malls, to be honest, virtual malls are nothing new, right? There's been lots of types of virtual malls, but we think our value proposition and the fact that we've got effectively a super DApp that's plugging in with a whole heap of different ventures, products, services, and the model that we've got. And that's what I want to spend a bit of more time going through over the next week, because there's still a lot of people that haven't sort of seen the pictures and the model and how it actually works. And if you understand how it all clicks together, you'll understand very, very quickly why we're trying to make sure that we try and put these pieces together roughly at the same time, or as close together as possible, because they all 100% depend on each other. If we're building an interoperable ecosystem, it's not very interoperable if there's nothing actually launched in the ecosystem, if there's only one or two things. So you have to have them all come together. Vault Jail, that's a cool idea. Big boys, yeah, I think that'll be cool. Is there RFOX in it? Yep. Yeah, I'm interested to see that. That's interesting. We have to go pick it up in person. Really? Any updates, hints on utility of RFOX 2020? Yeah, been patiently waiting. I think it's one of those things that we've told you that it's always going to have a special place in our heart. And I think that once we start to roll out stuff in the metaverse, you're going to see the real utility for any of those limited feature function types of things. And I think that a big nod on that on the RFOX 2020 is it was actually mentioned in our call today, the gaming platform, where they turned around and said, we really love the idea of the 2020, and we think that it's great that you could potentially use that to unlock special access and gifts and privilege and that is the thing that really sort of drew them to to what we're able to do for them or with them, because they want us to replicate that system for them across their whole platform, which is extremely large. How much is a plane ticket to Vietnam? I got no idea. I don't even know if planes still fly anywhere, do they? I'm not convinced they do. I've heard of like I know that Miami happened, Bitcoin Miami, so obviously there was planes, but and I jest surely. But I know that a lot of the countries in this region in Southeast Asia are completely locked down borders, and I don't know what it's like where you are, Pete, but it's we got word last week that people coming in is almost impossible to come into Vietnam at the minute.
We just finished the 2-week lockdown on up to the 14th, and then it's extended another 2 weeks. So yeah, everything's locked down. Offices are closed. Everything's closed. Takeaway only for food. Non-essential goods and whatnot are all closed.
Doesn't Malaysia know that the pineapple's an essential food?
Pineapple is open. Not everything else. Like you can't go get like non-essential goods.
Yeah,
like those massage parlors and all that.
Yeah, I think I think the reason that it's held its ground so well is because there is so few of them, and people know how special they are to us as well, so they know that that's going to be there's going to be some pretty cool stuff. Hang on, I saw a question somewhere. What percentage of the metaverse do you have done and ready? Oh, the metaverse, as far as being ready is concerned, Chauncey, is actually three phases really. So once you've got all your time and your assets, that's all cool and that's great. You can show that type of stuff, but that would only be the beginning, and that's not finished. And when that, you then have to plug in the payment rails and the technology side of things. So there is a bit of development pieces, like 3 different pieces that have to fit together. So we want to be clear when we go out and sort of do the new timelines, because the thing is that you don't only have the city, you can do the cities bit by bit all together, but you've also got all the functionality of all the payment rails, all the payment gateways, all the technology that runs behind it as far as the NFT issuances are concerned. So there's lots of pieces that have to fit together. And I think that a lot of the people that are sort of setting out to build a metaverse will either do one of two things. They'll either take shortcuts and use some sort of white label type of metaverse or land or whatever, and then just let people build it. That's what most people do. They say, we'll just sell land and let people build the buildings and do it all themselves, like a Decentraland, which could take years and years and years to finish. Or you can try and do something properly from the beginning and get it out and functioning, and then you can still continue and iterate. But I think most people will struggle to sort of say today that they're going to build a metaverse and have something out like super fast. It's not an easy proposition. Going to travel so much this year, all possible things still up. So, what about your area of the world, Ramses? Is it still on lockdown? Cheapest stuff, yeah. Has weathered the storm really well. Smoke as much as you can. Okay, thanks. So they'll all come together because they all work together. Yeah. Well, when I say Chauncey, they'll all come together. The thing is that even if we say that we've got every single piece to launch on the same date, there is no way in God's name that they would all be able to come out on the same day, because, as we were talking about before, every one of the pieces has a dependency on some third party or that isn't built yet. And even worse, when you start dealing with the finance side of things, you've got regulatory issues that are continually, landscapes that are continually moving underneath your feet. So, we were interviewing someone from RFOX.Finance for RFOX.Finance GM role, and they said something really interesting. And they said that in the country that they work in, that they worked for a provider or a platform that did the thing and tried to make sure that they followed all of the regulation, much the same as what Liquid did, and were completely crippled. Couldn't do anything. Everything had to be like ticked off, marked off, and couldn't move. But the platforms that were just saying, there's not much law around this, I'm just going to bash on and get things out, they're the ones that have been successful. And so that's the dilemma, trying to do it's the right way versus whatever way you can. I think, to be honest, it's a balancing act. It's trying to make sure that you're not doing anything wrong, but then also make sure that you're utilising the loose framework that currently exists and loose legislation that currently exists, because otherwise you're not going to be able to build anything or do anything that challenges legacy systems, especially if they're making money for governments. I probably shouldn't say that, Pete, or I'll get muted by all of the new. Will users be able to play to earn in Bitcoin? So Hero Gamer, the one thing that we're trying to do at the moment is, if we do really want to go for mass adoption, and we're finding this here now in this region, it's a very good question. The two things, again, things that people are struggling with is, one, non-fixed currencies. So that means, for example, if you buy something in wax, you have to keep adjusting the wax, right, to make sure that you get the US dollars that you want. So that's going to kill any rapidly scaling mass market, mass adoption type of game. Has to be fixed. Can't fluctuate for the general use. It's a problem that has to be dealt with by most of these. It's something we're looking at now as well. What's also hurting is the earnings in the currencies. So if you give people options as to what they can take the money out in, that's going to put your game in a much better position and the products in a much better position. So as we've always said, we want it to be that we take whatever's in the user's pocket, settle through RFOX, convert through RFOX, and then offer people options to be able to get cashed out or pay out in different ways, shapes, or forms. So all of the big e-money wallets in this region are pushing to try and get transactions done in fiat, but all the players are asking to be paid in a cryptocurrency that they can then do what they want with. I'll let you finish sentences because you know what I'm talking about. What do you think of pet red foxes in the metaverse? And they grow and evolve as you spend more time in the metaverse. People love pets. It's a bloody good idea. That's a great idea.
I got to implement that.
That's a pretty good idea, Pete. That's a cool idea, Ninja. Imagine if you did the Tamagotchi type format as well. People would have to come back every couple.
The guy is not here in the chat, but he's busy saying that, hey, we're bringing Pokemon to the vault. This is not here.
It's a pretty good idea though, isn't it? Because that's Tamagotchis and stuff. I think they were the first ones that sort of got people to say, if you didn't actually tend to it and take care of it, the thing used to die, and people didn't want the guilt.
I'll put it in the laundry list of things to do.
I think give that a thumbs up. That's a cracking suggestion. Absolutely, that's a cracker. Let's not forget that one. We get recreational travel again on Tuesday. Oh, nice. Very lucky. Very different the way you are all doing it. I have seen most deploy like the first way you said, fast and easy, but low tech levels. Yeah, the thing that we've got to take into consideration, Chauncey, as well, because we've copped a lot of flack for why'd you go to the trouble of trying to do a proof of tech in the beginning of a blockchain game on a mobile, and then you're saying that your metaverse isn't actually built on a blockchain, it's actually built using gaming engines with blockchain integration. Like, why? Why would you not just build it on a blockchain like everybody else? the fact is that we have mobile users in this region of the world. 91% or thereabouts will be trying to access games, platforms, apps, metaverses, all through mobile phones. And it doesn't take on. I mean, if we were the first one to the 100% on-screen mobile game that was smooth and affordable to play, how the hell are you going to build a whole metaverse on there that houses businesses and shops and events and concerts and stream? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I think that, as far as like the tech and stuff is concerned, it's always going to be evolving, but you need to be building on something that scales and something that you can use for mass market.
Hey, Benny, I'm driving, so I can't type this out, but there seems to be a trend lately of attacking projects, Bitcoin or other blockchains, where the eco-friendly folks are like, oh, that burns too much energy, or that's not eco-friendly, or that produces carbon. Is there a plan to, address that if the eco-terrorists, if you will, turn their eyes towards RFOX and say, that's not eco-friendly, you're hurting the environment?
I think it's a good question, and I think that the fact that we're building effectively the main platform that everything integrates into using gaming engines and for mobile phones, I think we sort of escaped the wrath partly there. But ultimately, I think personally that's a sign that the whole industry and the sector is getting more maturity, because I did say, and I have been saying for years, that there will come a time where people in the industry start looking for little advantages to be able to pull down the other blockchains, but in a really coordinated and well put together way. And I think that we're starting to see those first signs of maturity, and this is very normal in traditional markets. So, I mean, there's a lot of reports that are also coming out that are saying that they're comparing the industries type of how eco-friendly other industries really are and the damage they're doing. The first one that came out was it takes 1 million litres of water to make a suit. You've got we're going to get attacked on all fronts for doing all sorts of stuff down the track, and I think that for me, I think a bigger concern would be much more in the fact that as soon as you're talking about playing games and NFTs, mark my words, there'll be a war soon enough where people start saying, if you're gamifying NFTs and all the rest of it, legislators should move towards putting in gambling rules or laws and trying to regulate that. And they're going to say that kids are playing play-to-earn games, or kids are playing games that are and it's causing kids addicted to gambling. And I think there's going to be... I think those eco types of comments are a long list of getting it where you can type of tactics, but I think that's the least of our worries going forwards. Will the play-to-earn model mirror Axie's in terms of daily rewards possible to be earned? Yes, 100%, degen. If we don't have... We understand the importance of play to earn, but also rewards across the whole ecosystem, because the engagement is massive. And if you don't have those cashback rewards, play to earn, and you don't have a proper play to earn economy and mechanics, then you're not going to succeed. So I would like to think that version 1.0 will be relatively simplistic, but you'll be able to see the mechanics of how this is going to roll out. But we've studied Axie's model. Axie's is hats off to them. They've done an amazing job, and their play to earn is being studied by many different factions and parties. But I firmly believe, with our experience in customer experience and our experience in journey mapping and all the rest of it, that we can actually come up with something that actually is able to beat it. It's a matter of, if you look at a lot of the most successful models, they have a far higher dependency on selling, not much on the buying side, and most of the models rely on this seemingly endless supply of free tokens that they can give out to people, which is much the same type of models as your Ubers and your Grabs and your like go for the land grab. But at some stage, you'll reach a point where they have to either take outside funding to keep that model going, or they have to balance it up better to try and make sure there's an influx of capital to be able to balance the outgoing. And so we want to make sure that we've got a much more balanced approach, and it's a sustainable approach, so that we're able to allow players to earn, but we're also enticing other people to invest to be able to earn more. There has to be a balance. It can't just be all outgoing. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, smashing through barriers, Ramses. Yeah, that's why I always refer to that book that people don't really rate. But The Upstarts by Brad Stone is a great book. A lot of people just really don't like it, but I don't think they if you understood any of either of those companies, or you've had contact or history with them, it's a great book. When SLP first came out, it wasn't worth as much. It took time as well as growth, demand, and more access to be read. Yeah, actually, Ramses, there's a video of a guy that's it's got surprisingly low views, but most of you have probably seen it. He gets a stopwatch and he sits there and he times how long he plays Axie for and how much SLP he earns. And he goes back and says, this is how much you get per hour for playing the game, and it's kind of fun and rah, rah, rah. But that was when SLP was like pretty much first out and not worth really anything at all. And there's been a couple of people that have gone back and looked at that video and sort of said if he had have held on to his SLP and have redone the calculations, and he was making like a ridiculous amount of money per hour. Yeah, we try to, Chauncey, come in and do AMAs and try and talk to you guys. Talking's a lot better than the writing, and we find that the writing in Telegram is so time-consuming, and you don't really get sometimes the translation of the text doesn't come across the right way. And we did bring on brand ambassadors to help us, and they've been doing a great job. But ultimately, we want to try and use our time in the most effective way we can. And we were spending a huge amount of time on text writing in those Telegram channels. So I will still try and make sure that I maintain a balance. But the last couple of weeks, we've just really been trying to work out how to pull this together to make sure that everything's on our platforms, and that we've got to reduce the amount of steps that people have to go through. Because again, when you're dealing with some of these bigger brands, they're not going to tolerate this Mickey Mouse sticky tape and paddle pop sticks type of approach. And as investors, I understand it's also frustrating, which is why I want to sort of do a video to address it, because a lot of people are sort of seeing the market go down in general, and then it makes people question everything, right? So they come back and they say, why is it taking so long? Or why is it not out yet? Or I'm here to make money. I'm an investor. I want this to do well. So do we. And putting out a rubbish product or putting out something that brands won't want to work with isn't going to do anything other than potentially cause a little bit of a hype bubble for maybe a couple of weeks until people say, well, that's garbage. And then you're banished to the confines of hell and you're never going to come back. So we want to make sure that we do this the right way. And it is difficult because there is a lot of people that want to see immediate action, and I want an answer as to exactly when that's going to happen. And it's not like we don't like not giving that answer. I have to wear that pressure, but the thing is, I can't keep being in a situation where we sort of go out, give a particular date, and then fall into the same trap as every other project falls into, and that is delay. So I'd rather just sort of get a really strong handle on it, but more importantly, give you guys a bit more transparency on what it is that we're dealing with, what it is that we're working on, and that might help people get a greater understanding acceptance of what we're building, why we're building it, and how long it takes to build. Yeah, I think so, Ramses. We might be able to sidestep it. Actually's got a lot of growth during their first 10 seasons. Yes. That's good, Chauncey. It's good that you ask anything. I actually don't have any problems with that. Like, that's the thing that people should already know by dealing with us for this amount of time. I don't pretend that we get everything right. I don't pretend that we get everything perfect. I don't pretend that we get things the way we want them to be. And things change along the way based on technology or capabilities. And sometimes it's that we didn't understand what was currently available. And you've got to also understand this is a very shady industry and space still, and you've got a lot of people with very glossy brochures that talk about all the cool stuff that they can do, and you sort of get excited and you bring all those teams together, and then you find out they don't actually have anything and can't do anything. And that's a very frustrating situation, but that's the nature of the industry in its infancy. The empires that have been built on the Axie Scholarship SLP are truly ginormous. Yeah, Ramses, there's been some, I see them, I saw those. I was reading about them the other day. It's amazing. Land sale XP. We're still working on. The thing is that we have to have a couple of things go our way, right? We've got as you know, the game we've started taking those registrations, and that's been getting closer. The sale for 3rd edition cogs much closer, and the bad days and all of that type of stuff. But we also realise that we are missing a massive opportunity, as stated. If we don't have that federated login system, what we're doing is we're having these events and we're bringing on all of these people and we're bringing them onto another platform, not ours. And they're using other people's technology, not ours. It's a massive wasted opportunity. Now we've got other IP coming up. We've got the Miss Universe, as you know, later this year. We've got RFOX Media rollout. We've got the Metaverse rollout. And if we're in a situation where all those people are on Facebook or something, then ultimately, metaphorically speaking, if they're on Wax, Facebook or something else, it's a very big wasted opportunity, because everybody's going to want us to bring people into the RFOX ecosystem, use RFOX, spend RFOX, integrate RFOX. And what we're going to have is a 10-step login process with part Wax, part BNB, part Ethereum, it's just going to be a nightmare, and no one wants to have 100 steps just to rush something and get it out a few weeks or earlier. So the best thing for us to do right now is to stop all of that Mickey Mouse type structure and make sure that we get it right. And that's going to bode well and better for working with some of these bigger partners. New farms. So Ivory Eagle, that's something else that we're looking at the moment. We sort of, as stated, I think I've talked to people about this before, in the sense that we had to first get legal approval, and now we're going back through the people that had registered interest as far as projects are concerned, and we're trying to determine what capacity will actually work with some of these projects. And again, you know, if we were looking at some of these projects 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we would have been going, cool, awesome. And then this dips happened and all the rest of it, and some of them would just completely shut up shop. So there's also the risk of how do you vet the projects to make sure that they're the right ones. Being very honest, our dilemma at the minute is, do you go out and say, let's allow anybody to sort of come along, integrate, have a pool, great for RFOX, lock up tons more RFOX, get heaps more exposure, much more revenue in, and cool, and then it's them doing it and them adding? Or do we go through and say, no, we control that, we'll vet, we'll try the best we can to make sure that the projects are bona fide and kosher projects, but then with that comes a much higher workload, as well as also some sort of onus and responsibility on us as far as the nature of those projects is concerned. So that's the sort of point we're at now. But all things, we did talk to you guys early on about having a Ping An as a model. I think that RFOX.Finance has a really good chance to head towards being the Ping An type of model. For those of you who don't know what that is, they do collateral, loans, financing, insurance, all sorts of stuff. And I think that's obviously the future of where some of these basic farms will end up. They'll end up being a financial system. And I think there's no reason why we can't be part of that and shouldn't be part of that. And we've always planned to do the Ping An model. So we just have to work out what's the fastest way to do that and the safest way to do that. And again, if we've got a product market fit, we bring in experts to do that. So that's what we're trying to organise now. So as you can imagine, when you've got finance, media, obviously your marketing side, games, metaverse, streaming, cashback, that's a lot of stuff to pull together at the same time, a lot of technical infrastructure underpinning all of that, making sure they're all coming through the same doors to the same room. It would have been a lot easier had we built it one by one, but in retrospect, I don't think there would have been it wouldn't have been any easier. We still would have had the same technology challenges. We still would have had a Frankenstein. So we're much better just to sort of spend a month or two making sure that we've got this infrastructure right, the login, our own base, and it's going to make for a much, much better experience going forwards. Much better experience going forwards. Okay, any other questions? What is the fee structure from RFOX.Finance? Will fees purely fund other ventures, or will RFOX VFOX holders be paid a portion of those fees? So at the moment, we've used the straight pancake swap type of, it was a fork that we did originally. So fee structures going forwards are being determined now as far as the model's concerned. But if you have a look at how Pancake Swap and those guys do it, they do charge a fee on the swaps and all the rest of it. Obviously, with the volumes that they do, it's probably very significant. But what they do is they are able to they're able to make money out of projects giving them tokens to set up the pools, and they obviously have a percentage of the new tokens that are created and coming out as well. So their model's slightly different, but we can have a hybrid of those two models. So as far as fees are giving out, this is why, again, VFOX has been put out as the reward token. I still see the question almost every day. People say, why is there a second token? Why is there a VFOX token? And we've gone through this and we've talked about it before with you guys, and I think most of you guys have understood that now, but you need to understand that they're extremely different mechanics. One of them is a rewards-based token, one of them is a utility token, and they both have extremely different tax implications, trigger different tax events. You can't just you can't just start giving out reward tokens to existing token holders. The law doesn't see it that way, and B, tax implications, events, and triggers make people not very happy about unwillingly having those types of events triggered. And obviously, with the types of rewards that we've potentially got coming, you need to have a completely separate structure to those types of tokens. Speaking of pancake swap forks, and because we're into degen now, I'll look at this one. Egg chain. Okay, I'll have to have a look at that. Oh, yep. I'm sorry. I'm in your degen hour now. So, thank you very much for having us again. Appreciate your attendance, and even in a down market, you guys are all here. So appreciate that. Hope you have a fantastic week and evening. As stated, I'll try and put out a video very different in the nature that we normally do, just to explain how things work behind the scenes and where we're at, so that we give people a little bit of an update and some clarity. And hope you all enjoy that. So have an awesome night, guys. See you next week.